Chosen one. Stop right here. This is not random. Heaven has placed an unseen hand on your shoulder and whispered, "Listen." You thought you were scrolling without purpose. But this very moment is a divine appointment with destiny. Something is shifting in the unseen realms. You can already feel it. Your heart beats faster. Your spirit stirs. That is because you are not like the rest. You carry a flame deep within. And tonight, that flame is being stirred into fire. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young man nobody noticed. He knocked on doors of opportunity, but silence answered him back. His friends advanced, while he stood still. In the dark of night, he soaked his pillow with tears, whispering, "Maybe I am forgotten." But he was not forgotten. Heaven was training him in secret. And when his season arrived, the doors opened wide, and those who once mocked had to watch him walk into a calling that could not be denied. That young man was a chosen one. And so are you. You have faced nights of silence. You have walked through rejection and slammed doors. But what you thought was punishment was actually positioning. What felt like delay was divine preparation. Your waiting season was never wasted. Heaven was shaping you for the assignment now rising before you. The word of the Lord is written in the book of Nahum, chapter 1, verse 7. The Lord is good, a stronghold in trouble. He knows those who take refuge in him. These words are a shield wrapping around you. You may have been pressed. You may have been bruised, but you were never abandoned. The Creator knows you by name. He has been your fortress all along, and the enemy cannot destroy what heaven has marked to rise. Picture your life as a torch blazing in a storm. Rain lashes, winds howl, yet the flame endures. Others walk safely because of the light you carry, or see yourself as an instrument hidden in its case. Silent, yes, but in silence, the Master is tuning every string. When the appointed hour arrives, the sound released will still the noise of an entire room. That is who you are prepared, tuned, ignited for this hour. So do not treat this lightly. This is a wake-up call. Heaven is asking, are you ready to step forward? Let your actions answer. Take one simple act of faith. Like this message. Share it to awaken others. And subscribe so you do not miss what heaven is releasing. Finally, seal this moment by commenting the number 777 below. 777 is not coincidence. It is a prophetic sign of completion and divine alignment. Your old cycle ends here, and your new beginning has already begun. But hear me clearly, this is not only about numbers. This is about your yes to heaven's call. Every act of faith you make in this moment is like planting a seed in the soil of eternity. Seeds that will not die, but rise as a harvest in the right season. So stand firm. Lift your head. Breathe deeply. You are the one chosen for this very hour. Let today mark the day you stopped running and started walking boldly in your true identity. You are not random. The path you've walked, every turn, every delay, every closed door, it has been written into a script far older than you. To many, it looked like setbacks. To you, it felt like punishment. But heaven calls it positioning. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers and thrown into a pit. What seemed like rejection was actually redirection. From the pit to the prison, and then to the palace, every step carried him closer to purpose. What looked like loss was the hand of God moving him into place. In the same way, your detours are not mistakes. They are markers of divine guidance. Your struggles have been the chisels shaping you. Every tear watered the soil of your destiny. Every unanswered question became a silent training ground. You thought heaven was silent, but silence was the classroom. The teacher was preparing you without saying a word. Imagine a master painter working on a vast canvas. From up close, all you see are chaotic strokes, blotches of dark color, strange textures, incomplete lines. It makes no sense. But step back, and the picture begins to reveal itself. Your life is that canvas. Up close, confusion. But from heaven's perspective, every stroke is purpose. We are reminded through the writings of Solomon in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 9. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. You made plans. Some failed. Some vanished. Yet even in disappointment, you were never outside his direction. Your steps, yes, even the stumbling ones, were guided by his unseen hand. There was a woman who once prayed endlessly for breakthrough, year after year. The doors seemed sealed. Friends moved on. Opportunities passed her by, and loneliness became her closest companion. She whispered in the night, "Have you forgotten me?" Yet in that waiting, she discovered strength she never knew existed. When her season finally shifted, she realized that the waiting was not wasted. It was where her roots grew deep enough to carry the weight of her future. She too was a chosen one. This is the pattern of heaven. Delay is not denial. Silence is not absence. Hiddenness is not abandonment. It is refinement. Picture a tree in winter. Bare branches, cold winds, lifeless to the eye, but underground, unseen. Roots die deeper, stretching for water, anchoring for storms to come. When spring arrives, the same tree bursts with blossoms so abundant that no one remembers the barrenness. Your winter season has been exactly that hidden work. Unseen growth, preparation for a harvest yet to come. Do not despise the hidden years. Do not curse the quiet seasons. They are the proving ground of the chosen ones. Heaven never forgets what it hides. It only conceals what it values. Look back for a moment. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every time you thought it was the end, you survived. Not by your own strength, but because purpose refused to let you go. That alone is proof you are chosen. If you were ordinary, you would have been destroyed already. The fact that you're still here is evidence that destiny has been holding you in place. Your story is not random. Your scars are not wasted. They are road signs pointing to a calling greater than you can see right now. And soon, the same people who doubted you will realize you were being positioned all along. The weight you carry is not by accident. You were entrusted with more than most, because heaven saw a strength in you that others overlooked. Every rejection, every false accusation, every night you whispered into the darkness, "Why me?" It was shaping you to become unshakable. Think of David, the shepherd boy left out in the field, forgotten by his own father. When the prophet came to anoint a king, no one saw him, but heaven's eyes never left him. The anointing did not fall on the brothers in the room, it fell on the one hidden in the pasture. You too have been hidden, but not overlooked. you too carry an anointing that cannot be denied. Your very presence disrupts darkness. That is why opposition rises whenever you step into a new space. People sense something different about you, even if they cannot name it. Some resist you. Some misunderstand you. But all of it testifies to one thing: you are chosen. We find in the second letter to Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 8, we are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair. This is the mystery of your life: pressed, but not crushed, confused, but not hopeless, misunderstood, but never abandoned. Your endurance is the evidence that God's hand is on you. Imagine a lantern carried into a cave. The darkness resents the light, because the light exposes what was hidden. That is why the attacks feel personal, because they are. Your light unsettles the enemy. You are not just surviving, you are disrupting entire atmospheres simply by being present. There was once a woman who carried deep wounds from betrayal. She entered every room feeling out of place, unwanted, yet unknowingly. Her words carried healing. Strangers would say, "When you speak, I feel peace." She didn't realize it, but her pain had become oil that healed others. That is what heaven does with the chosen ones. It transforms wounds into weapons of light. Chosen one. Here is your call today. Comment, "I will stand," below. Write it as a declaration. Not for me, but for yourself. Because every time you declare those words, you are reminding your spirit of who you are. You are telling heaven, "I choose to rise." And you are telling the enemy, "You cannot silence me." And do not underestimate this act. Words carry power. Written words echo into the atmosphere. When you type, "I will stand," you are not only agreeing with this message, you are planting your flag in the ground, saying, "This is where I stop bowing to fear. This is where I start walking as chosen." So, type it boldly. Type it as prophecy over your own life. And let your declaration ring louder than the lies that tried to chain you. So when you write it, understand this: you are not just typing 3 words on a screen. You are making a covenant with your own spirit. You are agreeing with heaven's view of you and breaking every lie that has whispered, "You are weak. You are forgotten." The simple act of writing "I will stand" is a prophetic gesture, declaring to unseen realms that you refuse to bow anymore. And here is the beauty. Once you choose to stand, heaven provides the strength. You are not standing alone, you are standing clothed in divine authority. The ground beneath you becomes firm. The atmosphere shifts. And even the battles that once overwhelmed, you will begin to bow. Your words ignite your position. You carry a disruptive light. It is not just what you do, it is who you are. There is something within you that unsettles the atmosphere the moment you walk into a room. Some sense peace. Others feel conviction. Darkness, however, feels terror. This is why you have been misunderstood. People could not explain the way they felt around you. Some distanced themselves without reason. Some whispered about you behind your back. And you wondered, "What have I done wrong?" The truth is, it was never about your actions. It was about your light. Think of Moses after he came down from Mount Sinai. His face shone with glory so intensely that the people were afraid to come near. He did nothing wrong, he simply reflected the presence. You, too, carry that reflection. You may not see it in the mirror, but heaven says it. and hell fears it. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. This is more than poetic language. It is an awakening call. You are not being asked to create light, you already have it. You are being commanded to reveal it. Arise, shine, step into the identity you have been hiding. Imagine a lighthouse standing against the storm. The waves crash, winds roar, but the beam of light slices through the chaos, guiding ships to safety. That is what you are. The storm does not silence you. It only makes your light more necessary. Or consider fireflies in the deepest forest night. Tiny sparks against vast darkness. Yet together they turn the night into a moving constellation. You may feel small, but your glow is enough to disturb shadows. And when joined with others like you, the darkness has no chance. There was once a young girl who struggled with insecurity. She always stayed quiet, afraid to speak her thoughts. Yet whenever she did, her words pierced through confusion like arrows of clarity. People would pause and say, "I never saw it that way until you spoke." She didn't realize it then, but her voice carried light. That is what you carry too, the ability to cut through confusion, to bring clarity where others only see fog. But here is the tension. Light cannot go unnoticed. It will always draw attention. Moths are drawn to it, but so are predators. That is why opposition rises. That is why spiritual resistance intensifies. Not because you are weak, but because you are effective. This is the season where your light cannot be dimmed. You have tried hiding it, blending in, pretending you are ordinary. But the more you hide, the heavier the weight becomes. You were never designed to fit in. You were designed to stand out. Think of gold in the furnace. At first glance, the fire looks destructive. Yet what the fire truly does is separate the pure from the impure. The more intense the heat, the brighter the gold shines. That is you in this hour. The fire has been hot, the pressure unrelenting, but it was never meant to destroy you. It was designed to reveal you. Do not despise the resistance. The pressure confirms the presence of purpose. The attacks confirm the reality of your anointing. The rejection confirms the authenticity of your calling. Light does not ask permission to shine. It does not apologize for existing. It simply shines. And in shining, it exposes. That is your assignment, not to be accepted, but to be undeniable. Not to be liked, but to be light. Your journey may have carried shadows, but now the command is clear. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and nothing, not fear, not rejection, not opposition can put it out. This is the moment where heaven calls you to rise higher, not with fear, not with striving, but with surrender. You are being summoned into alertness, not because of what you lack, but because of what you already carry. Think of a soldier asleep in the barracks. The war outside intensifies, but within the camp, the trumpet sounds, calling every warrior to their feet. The soldier does not wake because he is weak. He wakes because his assignment has arrived. That trumpet call is ringing over you now. You may not realize it, but your story has been preparing you for this hour. Every scar is a medal of survival. Every tear is oil that will one day heal others. You have endured more than many, and because of that endurance, Heaven has entrusted you with weighty purpose. The Apostle Paul wrote in his letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 31, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" Those words are not a question, they are a thunderclap. Who indeed can stand against one who walks with heaven's backing? It means every force that rises to oppose you has already lost. Now pause. Feel the weight of this. You are not simply being told you are chosen, you are being invited to embody it. Invitations can be ignored, but those who accept them step into a new world. Here is where the metaphor turns into your personal choice. Imagine a flame flickering in the night. The flame can remain small, hidden in a corner, warming only itself. But if it is lifted high, placed on a hill, it becomes a beacon to countless others. That is the difference between holding this message quietly and choosing to let it shine. To let it shine is to say yes to step out of silence, to share what has touched you, to allow your life to become a spark for another weary traveler scrolling through shadows. You never know who might find hope through your small act. So when I say, like this message, hear it not as a demand, but as placing a small stone upon the altar of agreement, saying, yes, I align with this truth. Oh, when I say, share this word, imagine it as lifting your torch high on a hill so that another traveler in the dark can see the way. You never know whose life will be saved by the light you pass on. And when I say, subscribe, think of it as stepping inside the warrior's camp, where others, chosen like you, gather, sharpen their swords, and prepare together. You are not walking alone, you are joining an army rising for such a time as this. This is not about numbers or clicks. It is about alignment. It is about responding to the trumpet call in a way that is beautiful, voluntary, wholehearted. Just as a soldier answers the sound with his footsteps, you answer by allowing your life to echo with agreement. Your participation is not small. It becomes a ripple in eternity. You might think, it's just one click, one share, one comment. But in heaven's eyes, it is a declaration. It is you saying, I am awake. I hear the call. I choose to rise. No, you are not being forced. You are being invited. And in that invitation lies both dignity and destiny. So, chosen one, hear the trumpet. Let your response be your yes. Lift your flame. Step into the circle of light, not alone, but with many who are hearing the same call. For when the chosen ones gather, the darkness trembles. There are moments when heaven sends a sign, not to confuse you, but to confirm you. You have been wrestling with questions, wondering if you are truly chosen, if the fire inside you is real. The answer has already been written in your life. But now, heaven places a seal upon it, a number carrying prophetic weight. Think about how kings in ancient days would press their signet ring into hot wax. A simple mark became unbreakable proof. The message was authentic. The sender carried authority. That is what this number represents for you. It is the seal of heaven pressed upon your journey, declaring, "This one belongs to me." And the prophet Haggai spoke a word from the Lord in chapter 2, verse 9. "The glory of this present house will be greater than the glory of the former house, says the Lord Almighty. And in this place I will grant peace." And this is not just about temples or buildings. It is about you. Your latter days will be greater than your former days. The peace you longed for is not lost, it is promised. The weight of glory ahead of you is heavier than every struggle behind you. Imagine your life as a letter carried across nations, torn edges, stains from storms. Yet it arrives sealed with a mark that no thief could tamper with. The seal proves ownership. The seal proves purpose. In the same way, heaven has marked you. You may have been battered by storms, but the seal upon your spirit remains untouchable. Here is the prophetic sign being released over you now. Comment the number 111 below. Do not treat this lightly. 1 is the number of beginning, of oneness, of alignment with divine order. To see it repeated 3 times is not coincidence. It is the whisper of heaven saying, I am making all things new. I am aligning you perfectly. I am calling you into unity with my will. And when you type 111, you are not just putting digits into a box. You are agreeing with the seal. You are saying, yes, I will step into new beginnings. Yes, I will align fully with heaven's order. Yes, I choose unity with my Creator. Consider the dawn of a new day. Darkness fades, light rises, and the world is bathed in fresh possibility. That is the power of 111. It announces a sunrise over your life. Another image for you, a key turning once in the lock, opening a door that was sealed. The repetition of that motion confirms access is granted. In the same way, heaven is unlocking new doors before you. 111 is your prophetic key. Chosen one. Take this moment seriously. You have asked for confirmation, and heaven is answering. The seal has been placed, the foundation set. Respond with your declaration. Write it, not for me, but for yourself, for heaven, for every unseen watcher. Let the number 111 be your banner of alignment, unity, and new beginnings. But do not rush this moment. 111 is not just a number, it is a covenant between heaven and your spirit. Each digit is a reminder, you are not fragmented. You are whole, aligned with one who called you. To write it is to step into agreement with that truth. And remember this, unity always births power. When your heart, your mind, and your spirit align with God's will, you become unstoppable. That is what 111 represents, the strength that comes when there is no division within you, only agreement with heaven. So, as you comment it, see it as planting a flag on the battlefield of your life. You are claiming ground, saying, here, in this very place, I begin again. A season of sudden shifts is unfolding. What felt locked for years, what seemed immovable, is now trembling. You may not see it yet, but the hinges of doors long shut are loosening under the pressure of heaven's hand. Think of Peter in prison, bound in chains, guarded by soldiers. Doors sealed with iron. Escape was impossible. Yet in the midnight hour, an angel appeared. Chains fell, and doors opened of their own accord. What was impossible in the natural became inevitable in the supernatural. That is the kind of shift approaching your life. There was a man who waited nearly a decade for one opportunity, elaboret quietly, without recognition. Friends told him to give up. He considered quitting many times, but in a single week, a door swung open that not only restored what he had lost, but multiplied it. Years of silence broke in one sudden moment. This is how heaven works: slow preparation, sudden acceleration. The apostle wrote in the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 36, "You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised." And this verse is not a suggestion, it is a guarantee. Promise always follows perseverance. The waiting may feel endless, but heaven does not forget. Just as a bow must be pulled back before release, so too has your life been drawn tight, preparing for the sudden forward motion. Imagine a barren field through winter. Snow covers the ground. Silence reigns, and no growth can be seen. But beneath the frost, roots are strengthening, soil is storing moisture, and life is quietly building. Then, in a single week of spring, green shoots burst forth everywhere. What looked dead becomes unstoppable. Your life is that field. The shift will be sudden, but it is the fruit of every hidden season. Another image: a river dam holding back rushing waters. For years, the water builds behind the barrier, unseen by those downstream. Then, at the appointed time, the gates lift. The release is instant, powerful, overwhelming. That is the momentum heaven has been storing in your story. When the release comes, it will not trickle, it will flood. Do not despise the years that looked like delay. They were the building of pressure. They were the silent formation of strength. Without that waiting, the sudden release could not carry the weight it is meant to. Chosen one. Understand this. Your story is not about endless waiting. It is about perfect timing. Heaven specializes in the suddenly. Chains suddenly fall. Doors suddenly open. Lives suddenly change. So lift your eyes from the ground. The door is already trembling. The lock is already cracking. The chains are already weakening. And when it breaks, you will not walk through slowly, you will run. But here is the mystery. Sudden shifts never arrive unprepared. Every hidden struggle, every silent night, every unanswered prayer has been a laying of tracks for the train of breakthrough that is now approaching. What felt like wasted time was in fact holy construction. When the shift comes, it will not ask permission. It will break in like dawn, scattering the night without effort. One moment, silence. The next, the sound of new beginnings. This is how heaven moves quietly, building, suddenly revealing. So steady your heart. You are not waiting in vain. You are standing at the threshold of a door about to swing wide. And once it opens, no hand on earth will be able to shut it. Your tears were not wasted. Every drop you shed in silence. Every night you pressed your face into the pillow and whispered prayers no one else heard. They were not forgotten. Heaven gathered them. What you thought was loss became seed, buried deep in the unseen soil of eternity. Seeds do not remain. Seeds forever. They disappear beneath the ground, covered by dirt, unseen by eyes. For a time, it looks like nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, life is stirring. Roots are spreading. Strength is forming. That is what your pain has been: buried seed, preparing for harvest. We are reminded in the book of Psalms, chapter 126, verse 5, "Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy." Oh, this is not metaphor alone. It is a spiritual law. What was sown in grief will return in joy. Your sorrow was not the end of the story, it was the planting of your future. There was once a woman who lost everything she loved in a single season. Friends abandoned her. Opportunities vanished. And she felt stripped bare. In the nights, she cried until she could cry no more. She thought her tears were signs of weakness. But years later, when she stood, restored and flourishing, she realized those tears had been watering the very ground where her breakthrough would rise. This is your story as well. Heaven wastes nothing. Even your pain becomes a currency in the hands of the Almighty. Imagine a field after heavy rain. At first, it seems ruined, mud everywhere. Soil messy, paths washed away. But when the sun returns, the soaked ground becomes fertile, bursting with life that could never have grown without the storm. Your tears have been the rain. The harvest is coming. Or picture glass shattered on the floor. Broken pieces seem useless, sharp, even dangerous. But in the hands of an artist, those fragments can be melted and remade into a stained glass window that shines brighter than the original. That is what heaven is doing with your brokenness, turning fragments into beauty that reflects light for others to see. Chosen one, you have endured more than most. You carried grief silently, misunderstood by people who could not see your heart. Yet every silent cry reached the ears of heaven. Not one was ignored. Each one became a drop in the river that is now beginning to flow. The harvest will not look like the pain. Joy does not look like sorrow multiplied. It looks like transformation. Where you once mourned, you will laugh freely. Where you once hid in shadows, you will stand in sunlight. Where you once felt empty, you will overflow. Consider also the olive. To release its oil, it must be crushed. The pressure is painful, but the result is priceless. In the same way, the pressure you endured was not to destroy you, but to release the oil of influence, healing, and authority that only comes through brokenness. You may not understand the timing, but heaven is never late. Your tears have been counted, your pain recorded, your seed buried, and now, at the appointed moment, the harvest will break through. You will reap songs of joy, and the sound of your laughter will echo louder than the sound of your tears ever did. And when that joy comes, it will not whisper, it will roar. The same mouth that cried in silence will sing with strength, declaring victory for all to witness. A crown is never given by accident. It is the sign of authority, of victory, of inheritance. Yet a crown is also a choice. You cannot wear what you refuse to pick up. This is where many falter. They pray for breakthrough, but resist responsibility. They long for glory, but shy away from the weight that comes with it. But you, chosen one, are being asked to decide. Will you accept the crown waiting for you, or will you leave it lying untouched? The prophet Zechariah wrote in chapter 9, verse 16, "The Lord their God will save his people, as a shepherd saves his flock. They will sparkle like jewels in a crown." Notice this. Heaven does not only promise a crown, it promises that you yourself will shine like jewels within it. This is not about status, but about identity. You are not only wearing a crown, you are part of the crown of glory in the hand of your God. There was once a young man who dreamed of leadership. He thought the crown would come quickly, but instead, he faced years of obscurity, betrayal, even exile. He nearly gave up, thinking the dream had died. Yet when the moment finally came, the crown rested on his head, and he realized every trial had prepared him to wear it without losing himself. His name was David, and his story is a mirror for your own. A crown is not just metal and jewels. It is weight. It is calling. It is a signal to heaven and hell alike that you are marked for authority. That is why your battles have been fierce, because the enemy always tries hardest to stop the crowning of a chosen one. Imagine walking into a room where a golden crown rests on a table. Its shine fills the space. Others glance at it, admire it, but pass by. Only you pause, feeling the pull, sensing the responsibility it carries. The crown does not leap onto your head. You must reach out, lift it, and place it there. That is what this moment is for. Here is your prophetic act today. Comment, "My crown now." Write it as a declaration. Not timid, not unsure. Say it because you know the trials you endured were not meaningless. Say it because you understand the weight is worth carrying. Say it because heaven has already prepared the crown. It only waits for your acceptance. When you type it, you are not just leaving words on a screen. You are agreeing with heaven's decree over your life. You are telling your spirit, "I will rise." You are telling the enemy, "You cannot steal what has been given to me." Do not shrink back. Do not leave the crown untouched. This is your hour to choose it, to lift it, to wear it boldly. And once it rests on your head, nothing will ever look the same again. And remember this, a crown is not just a symbol you wear, it is a mantle you live under. To choose, it means to accept the responsibility of carrying light in places of darkness. To walk differently because you know you are marked. When you declare, "My crown now," you are saying to heaven and to yourself, "I refuse to let fear, rejection, or delay rob me of my inheritance." You are affirming that the long nights were not wasted, that the battles forged strength, and that you are ready to step into authority with humility and courage. This is your moment of alignment, your step into destiny. The hour has come to clothe yourself, not with fear, not with shame, but with an armor that does not rust, an armor of light. This armor is not heavy iron or steel. It is the radiance of heaven itself, wrapping around you, shielding you, and announcing to the unseen world, "This one belongs to the King." Armor is not optional for the chosen ones. Without it, the blows of life strike too deep. But when you wear the armor of light, even what should have destroyed you turns into proof of your resilience. The Apostle wrote in his first letter to the Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 19, "For what is our hope, our joy, our crown before the Lord Jesus when he comes? Is it not you?" Do you hear this? Heaven's hope and joy are not in monuments, not in riches, but in you. You are the living crown, and the armor of light is placed on you to preserve that glory. Imagine a knight standing at dawn. He has weathered the night, wounds still fresh, dust still on his face. Yet as the sun rises, his armor reflects the light, gleaming like fire. The scars remain, but the glow makes him unshakable. That is the picture of you right now, still carrying scars, yet shining brighter because of them. Or picture a mother holding her child during a storm. The winds rage. Thunder shakes the house, but her embrace becomes a shield. The child may still hear the storm, but he feels safe because of the arms around him. The armor of light is exactly that embrace, surrounding you with protection and peace, no matter the chaos outside. This armor is not just defense, it is identity. You are not hiding behind it. You are revealed by it. The world sees the light and cannot ignore it. The enemy sees the glow and cannot approach it. And now, chosen one, you are invited to respond. But hear me carefully. This is not pressure. This is beauty. This is not about ticking a box. It is about lifting your flame higher, aligning your actions with what your heart already knows. When I say, like this message, think of it as fastening one strap of your armor, securing it firmly to your life. You are saying, yes, I agree to wear the light. No, when I say, share this word, imagine it as holding a lantern out to another weary traveler. You are not forcing them to walk your road. You are simply giving them light to see their own. And when I say, subscribe, do not hear it as an empty routine. Hear it as stepping into the armory of heaven, where other chosen ones gather, where new armor is polished and fitted, where no warrior stands alone. Each act becomes a prophetic gesture. Each act says, I am not walking unarmed. I am not hiding my light. I am choosing to stand clothed in glory. So, let it be your choice. Not out of fear, not out of pressure, but out of love for the one who has already crowned you and clothed you. Let it be your yes. Simple and pure, echoing through the unseen. Because once you put on this armor, you will never again face a battle the same way. You will stand not in your own strength, but in the radiance of the one who called you. Mercy has carried you farther than you know. Every time you stumbled, every time you wandered, every time you delayed, mercy stood in the gap. It held back judgment. It whispered, not yet. It gave you another chance, and another, and another. But hear me now, mercy is not infinite in its opportunities. There comes a point where mercy steps back and says, choose. Oh, this is not to frighten you, it is to awaken you. Too many live as if tomorrow is guaranteed, as if the call of God can always be answered later. But Scripture warns of those who hardened their hearts, who delayed too long, until conviction itself was gone. The letter to the Hebrews, chapter 3, verse 15 declares, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as you did in the rebellion. No, notice the word, today, not tomorrow, not next season, not when it feels easier. Today, the urgency of heaven is always in the present tense, because tomorrow is a promise no one owns. Consider Israel in the wilderness. They had manna every morning, a cloud by day, fire by night, yet still their hearts turned hard. They thought mercy was endless, but when the moment of entering the promised land arrived, their hesitation cost them 40 years. They were not rejected by God, they rejected themselves through delay. This is the sobering truth. You are never far from breakthrough, but you are also never far from blindness. One rebellion can close your ears. One hardened choice can dim your sight. That is why mercy is pleading with you to act now, not later. Picture a cliff edge. A person stands, looking at the view. The ground beneath them is steady for now, but each step closer to the edge brings risk. Mercy is the voice calling. Step back. Come to safety. Ignore it long enough, and even the strongest ground will crumble. Or imagine a candle in a dark room. The flame flickers, warm and inviting. But if ignored, it burns down to nothing, and darkness returns. Mercy is that flame. It is glowing for you now, but it is not designed to last forever unattended. There was once a man who felt the call of God stirring in him. He said, "I'll answer when I'm older. For now, I want to live my life." But years passed. His heart grew colder, and the voice grew faint. By the time he sought it again, the flame of conviction was gone. He had not been abandoned. He had abandoned his own chance to respond. Chosen one. You are not that man. You are hearing clearly right now. That is mercy. Conviction is mercy. Warning is mercy. Heaven is still speaking. And that means the door is not closed. Do not mistake patience for indifference. Heaven is patient because it longs for your alignment. But there is a line where patience turns into silence. And silence is the most fearful place of all, not because of punishment, but because you no longer feel the pull to return. So let this be the moment you awaken. Let this be the season where you refuse to harden your heart. Do not gamble with time. Do not treat conviction lightly. Mercy has stretched its hand toward you. Grasp it while you can. Mercy is still knocking, but doors do not stay open forever. Each heartbeat is an invitation. Each breath a gift. Take this moment seriously. Your yes today can shape the entire course of your tomorrow. Numbers are not random. They are often patterns through which heaven speaks reminders, confirmations, and prophetic signposts. When the same number repeats, it becomes more than coincidence. It becomes a divine signal. And in this season, heaven is highlighting a new number over your life. The Apostle John recorded a vision in the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 5. He who was seated on the throne said, "I am making everything new." Then he said, "Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true." And this is what heaven declares right now. I am making everything new. What looked like the end is being reshaped into a beginning. What felt broken is being rebuilt. What you thought was lost is being renewed. The prophetic number for you to declare is 222. 2 represents agreement, covenant, and partnership. Scripture says, 2 are better than 1. It is about alignment, walking in unity, and standing in strength. To see it 3 times in succession is heaven's way of saying perfect agreement, unshakable covenant, complete alignment between heaven's plan and your steps. When you type 222, you are not just placing numbers on a screen. You are saying, I step into alignment. I agree with heaven. I accept covenant over chaos. This act is not ritual, it is agreement. Think of a symphony. One instrument alone makes a sound, but when 2 play in harmony, the melody becomes richer. When the entire orchestra joins in alignment, the music shakes the room. That is the sound of 222, your life coming into harmony with heaven's song. Or picture 2 strong pillars holding up a gate. Alone, they might bend under weight, but together they hold steady. Now imagine a 3rd pillar added, locking the structure into perfect strength. That is the image of 222. You are no longer unstable. no longer wavering. You are being set into firm alignment that cannot be shaken. This number is a promise that you are not walking alone. Heaven is your partner. Grace is your covenant. And new beginnings are secured through this alignment. So when you comment 222, let it be more than a number. Let it be a declaration. I choose agreement with heaven. I choose unity with my Creator. I choose stability over fear. The season of scattering is ending. The season of alignment is beginning, and the voice of the One on the throne still speaks. I am making everything new. But understand this, 222 is not about luck or chance. It is about deliberate choice. Agreement does not happen by accident. It happens when you decide to walk in step with what heaven has already spoken over your life. This number is also about covenant. A covenant is more than a promise. It is a binding agreement sealed in love. When you declare 222, you are saying, I enter into covenant with the one who cannot fail. I walk under his covering, and I will not be moved. End of phrase. And alignment means freedom. For years, you may have felt pulled in many directions, scattered and restless. But when your spirit aligns with heaven, confusion lifts. The road becomes clear. Your steps grow steady. That is the power of alignment, wrapped in 222. So let your declaration be strong. Type it. See it. Believe it. Because every time you align, you silence chaos and invite clarity. That is what heaven is offering now. A movement is stirring. It is not the rise of celebrities, nor the ascent of the powerful according to the world's measure. It is the awakening of torchbearers, those who carry fire in their souls, those who shine in the darkness without fear, and you are counted among them. Torchbearers are not chosen because they are the loudest or the strongest. They are chosen because they have endured the crushing, the waiting, the pressing, and still held on to the flame. The fire they carry was not lit by human hands. It was kindled by heaven, tested by storms, and proven unquenchable. We read in the book of Isaiah, chapter 66, verse 2, These are the ones I look on with favor, those who are humble and contrite in spirit, and who tremble at my word. This is the essence of a torchbearer, not pride, not arrogance, but humility. Their greatness is not in themselves, but in the fire they carry. Imagine a dark valley at midnight. Silence thickens. Fear lingers in the shadows. Suddenly, one flame rises in the distance, then another, and another. Soon a line of torches illuminates the path, guiding countless others who were too afraid to walk. That is what heaven is doing now, raising a remnant who will light the way for those still lost in the dark. There was once a woman who lived through unimaginable loss. She thought her story was finished, her light extinguished. But slowly, she discovered that her very wounds became sparks of hope for others. People drawn to her pain found healing in her words. Her brokenness turned into a torch. That is the mark of a true torchbearer, the ability to turn scars into light. Or picture an Olympic torch passed from one runner to another. The flame does not weaken in the handoff. It continues burning, symbolizing unity across generations. In the same way, the torchbearers of this hour are not starting a new fire. They are carrying forward the flame handed down through centuries of faith. Through prophets, apostles, martyrs, and saints. You stand in that lineage, Chosen one. You may feel small, but your fire is not. Fire spreads. Fear ignite. Fire transforms what it touches. You are part of a chain reaction heaven is releasing, where one flame becomes 10, 10 become 100, and the darkness has no answer. But fire comes with weight. To be a torchbearer means you cannot live like everyone else. A torchbearer does not hide in comfort. They walk into places others fear, because their flame is needed there. A torchbearer does not compromise their light. They guard it, feed it, protect it, knowing that lives depend on it. This is why your battles have been fierce. It was never just about you. The enemy fears what happens when your torch is lifted, because your flame awakens others. The moment you rise, entire chains of darkness begin to break. You are not alone in this. Heaven is raising torchbearers across the world, ordinary people with extraordinary fire. They are teachers, parents, workers, leaders, all carrying the same light. And together, their flames form an army of illumination that no storm can snuff out. So stand tall. Torchbearer, guard the flame you've been entrusted with. For your light is not only for you, it is for a generation stumbling in the dark, searching for the way home. Your voice is not small. It was never designed to be background noise or an echo of the crowd. Your voice is a trumpet, forged to pierce the silence, to announce shifts, to awaken those who sleep. Even when you whisper, heaven amplifies it. Even when you speak timidly, your words ripple further than you imagine. Trumpets in Scripture were never casual. They signaled war, announced victory, marked holy gatherings, and declared the presence of a king. Every blast carried weight. In the same way, your voice carries significance beyond ordinary speech. When you choose to speak truth, you are doing more than sharing words. You are releasing sound waves that reverberate in the spiritual realm. The Apostle Paul wrote in his first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 14, verse 8, "Again, if the trumpet does not sound a clear call, who will get ready for battle? This is the charge over your life. Let your voice be clear, certain, unmistakable. A muted trumpet cannot rouse an army. A blurred message cannot awaken hearts. You are called to clarity, not confusion, to conviction, not compromise. Imagine a battlefield at dawn. Soldiers wait, restless, weary. The ground is still, the air thick with tension. Then a trumpet blasts across the camp. In a moment, men rise to their feet, swords drawn, eyes sharp. They are ready, not because they saw the enemy, but because they heard the sound. That is the impact your words can have. Or think of a lighthouse horn cutting through thick fog. Ships drifting aimlessly suddenly find direction. Without the horn, they would crash on hidden rocks. Your voice is like that, cutting through confusion, guiding others to safety, even when they cannot see the path themselves. There was once a man who thought his words were useless. Every time he tried to speak, he felt ignored. But one day, a single phrase he shared turned someone's life around. That person later told him, "Your words stopped me from giving up." In that moment, he realized his voice was not empty. It was a trumpet call disguised as conversation. Your voice may not always be loud, but it is always weighty. Even silence, when chosen with intention, can roar louder than noise. A trumpet does not need endless melodies, only one blast, clear and strong, can shift everything. But with this gift comes responsibility. A trumpet can summon courage, but it can also spread panic if used carelessly. That is why heaven has been refining your tongue. Words that once wounded are being transformed into words that heal. Complaints are being reshaped into declarations. Doubts are being exchanged for faith. Chosen one, your voice carries prophetic weight. It is not just for casual chatter. It is a tool of awakening, a key to unlocking others, a signal that the King is near. When you speak with truth and love, darkness trembles because the sound of heaven is flowing through you. So guard your words. Do not waste them. Do not silence them out of fear. Let them be clear. Let them be bold. Let them be aligned with the heart of God. For the world is waiting not for another echo, but for the trumpet call only you can release. And when you release that sound, it does more than shake the air. It awakens destinies. Your words are not only for today, they echo into tomorrow, preparing paths you may never walk yourself. So speak with courage. Speak with faith. Speak as if heaven itself is leaning in, waiting for your trumpet call, because it is. Every chosen one must face two realities, the battle and the banquet. These are not opposites, they are companions. The fiercest battles often happen just before the most abundant banquets. Darkness fights hardest at the edge of breakthrough, because it knows a feast of victory is being prepared for you. The psalmist wrote in the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 5, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows." See the paradox. The table is set not after the enemies are gone, but while they are still watching. The battle surrounds you, yet the banquet is spread before you. That is the nature of divine triumph. Imagine a soldier returning from the field. His armor is dented, his body tired, but a long table awaits him. Torches flicker, bread steams, cups overflow. The war was real, but so is the feast. That is your story too. You have endured the fight, and heaven is preparing a celebration in the very place where you once struggled. Or picture a garden after a storm. Branches broken, soil drenched, yet fresh blossoms emerge, brighter than before. The storm cannot stop the banquet of beauty. So too, your life has weathered winds, but now fragrance is rising from the ground of your battles. But here is the secret: to taste the banquet, you must endure the battle. To sit at the table, you must walk through the fire. And in this walk, you are not alone. The shepherd fights for you. The king anoints you. The Spirit sustains you. Now, chosen one, here is your invitation to respond, but not as duty, as beauty. When I say, like this message, do not hear it as clicking a button. See it as lifting your cup at the banquet table, saying, "Yes, I drink deeply of what heaven has poured for me." No, when I say, share this word, imagine it as passing the bread across the table, offering nourishment to another weary traveler who has just come from their own battle. Your simple act becomes someone else's strength. And when I say, subscribe, think of it as pulling your chair up to the banquet, choosing not to eat alone, but to remain in the fellowship of chosen ones, where fire is shared and hope multiplies. Finally, when I say, comment on this post, let it be like adding your voice to the songs rising around the table. Each voice adds harmony. Each declaration adds strength. Until the hall is filled with sound that drowns out every whisper of the enemy, none of these acts are empty. Each one is prophetic. Each one is a gesture that says, I do not stand in battle alone. I feast with family. I rise with an army. I belong to the banquet prepared for me. So choose freely. Lift your cup. Pass the bread. Take your seat. For though the battle still rages, the banquet has already been set, and your name is written on the table. And know this, every battle scar becomes part of the story told at the table. What once brought shame becomes a testimony that others will lean in to hear, a reminder that you endured and overcame. So do not despise the fight. Do not fear the banquet. Both are gifts. One proves your strength. The other celebrates it. And together, they proclaim that you are chosen, tested, and now prepared to shine in fullness. The crown is not merely a symbol of survival, it is a mark of impact. To be crowned is not only to be honored, but to be entrusted. A crown means you carry weight for others, that your life has become a vessel through which heaven shapes history. Crowns in the ancient world were not always gold. Sometimes they were woven from laurel branches, fragile yet fragrant, a sign of victory earned through endurance. Other times they were iron, heavy and unbending, a sign of authority that could not be questioned. The crown you carry may not look like the world's idea of glory, but it is recognized in heaven as priceless. From the book of Micah, chapter 7, verse 8. Though I have fallen, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light. This is the essence of your crown. It is not given because you never stumbled. It is placed upon you because, though you fell, you rose again. Though you sat in shadows, you carried on until the light broke through. That resilience is what marks you as ready to wear the crown of impact. Imagine a torch passed from one runner to the next. The runner crowned is not only celebrated, they are trusted to keep the flame alive. That is the role of every chosen one who wears the crown, not to bask in personal honor, but to bear fire for the sake of others. There was once a woman who had walked through decades of hardship, poverty, loss, betrayal. Yet through it all, she remained faithful. When she finally stepped into her season of leadership, people listened not because of her position, but because of her scars. Her crown was not gold on her head, but influence in her words, authority in her life. That is what it means to be crowned for impact. Your crown is not just about identity, it is about legacy. To wear it means your life ripples outward. Your decisions, your words, your very presence create shifts in the lives of those around you. Sometimes you will never even see the impact, but heaven measures it. Picture a stone dropped into still water. The ripples spread farther and farther. Touching shores the stone never reached. That is the imagery of your crown. Every act of obedience, every step of faith, every refusal to give up sends ripples across lives you may never meet. Or imagine a tree crowned with blossoms in spring. Those flowers do not exist. For the tree alone, they signal fruit is coming. Fruit that will feed many. Your crown is the same. It is a signal to those watching that nourishment. wisdom, and strength are about to flow from you. But do not mistake this crown as an end. Crowning is not a finish line, it is a commissioning. When the crown is placed on your head, it is heaven saying, "Now go, now lead, now shine." It is the beginning of a greater responsibility, a greater influence, a greater call. Chosen one. The battles you endured were never just for survival. They were forging in you the strength to carry a crown. And this crown is not ornamental, it is functional. It declares to the world and the unseen that you are prepared to shape futures, to impact generations, to walk in authority, not for yourself, but for the kingdom. So wear it boldly, not in arrogance, but in confidence, not for applause, but for purpose. Your crown is the visible sign of an invisible reality that you are chosen, refined, and now entrusted with impact that will echo far beyond your lifetime. Every chosen one eventually arrives at the threshold of instruction. All the words of comfort, all the visions of light, all the images of crowns and torches, they are not for inspiration alone. They lead to marching orders. For you are not meant only to feel chosen, you are meant to walk as chosen. Orders do not come to those still wandering. They come to those who have endured enough to be trusted. That is why you have been through fire. Why shadows surrounded you. Why nights stretched long without answer. It was training ground. The marching orders that come now are not light suggestions. They are the very path of destiny set before you. The prophet Isaiah recorded in chapter 30, verse 21, "Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.'" All three. That is the promise. You will not walk in confusion. The voice is real, steady, and it is guiding you even now. Your path is not guesswork. It is marked by the whisper of heaven. Imagine a commander unrolling a map before weary soldiers. The night has been long, the fighting relentless, but suddenly the map reveals the way forward. Weariness fades because direction has been given. That is the power of marching orders. They bring clarity where chaos once reigned. There was once a man who thought his wandering was meaningless. He had changed jobs, moved cities, faced disappointment after disappointment. But when his season shifted, he realized every step had been leading him toward one precise assignment. What seemed random was strategy. What felt wasted was alignment. His life became a testimony that the voice had always been behind him, saying, "This is the way." And so it is with you. Every wrong turn, every delay, every closed door, they were not accidents. They were redirections, steering you closer to the road you were always meant to walk. Picture a river winding through mountains. At times it seems blocked by rocks, at times diverted by cliffs, yet, in the end, it always finds the sea. That is your story. No matter the diversions, you will reach the destination written for you. Another image, a sculptor working with marble. To the untrained eye, the chisel strokes look harsh, even destructive. But the sculptor sees the form within the stone. Every strike is measured, every cut intentional. Your life has been the same, each strike shaping you, each season carving away what does not belong, until what remains is the image heaven always saw. Now the time has come to move forward with purpose. Your marching orders are not about speed, but about direction. to walk with clarity, to step with faith, to move not as one unsure, but as one commissioned. You are not wandering anymore. You are not in waiting anymore. You are being called to act, to live, to embody the reality of being chosen. And though enemies may watch, though storms may rise, the orders are sealed. Walk forward, for the one who called you has gone ahead of you. The way may not always be easy, but it will always be sure. Your orders are written, your steps ordained, your path lit by the very light of God. And remember this, marching orders are not shouted, they are whispered. They do not come with noise and confusion, but with clarity and peace. The quieter you become, the clearer you will hear them. So walk forward with confidence, not because you know every detail, but because the one who calls you knows the end from the beginning, and he has already gone before you. Chosen one, you have walked with me through every word of this journey, from the first whisper of calling to the unveiling of marching orders. Heaven has been speaking directly to your heart. This is not the end. It is the beginning of a new chapter where you walk in clarity, crowned with impact, carrying fire, armored in light. But let me tell you plainly, the voice you have heard here must not stay here. When you respond, you anchor the word into your own life and allow it to ripple into the lives of others. When I say, like this message, do not hear it as routine. Picture it as placing your stone upon the altar, saying, I agree with what heaven has spoken over me. Now, when I say, share this word, see it as passing the torch forward. Someone else wandering in darkness may stumble across your light and find the strength they thought they had lost. When I say, subscribe, think of it as choosing to remain seated at the banquet table, not walking away hungry, but staying where nourishment flows. And finally, when I say, comment on this post, hear it as adding your own note to the song. Heaven is already singing over you. Even a few words become testimony, a declaration written not only in pixels, but in eternity. This is your moment. A flame has been kindled in you, and it is yours to guard, to lift, to share. You are not ordinary. You are not forgotten. You are God's chosen one, rising into alignment, crowned for purpose, and sent forth with authority. Now walk boldly, shine brightly, and never forget you were chosen for such a time as this.